Hi, welcome to One Foot in the Grave. I'm Dan.
Hey, welcome to One Foot in the Grave. I'm Jake.
We're just admiring Jake's new home studio, which is
Yeah,
oh, well, actually, why don't you post that
on the
on
Facebook
Facebook?
page.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I mean the
now
level
my
of
fucking
profession.
chair. Hold on a second. You know what? I'm going to swap chairs. I got a new chair.
What? Get the fuck out!
No, wait. It's an old chair. I got my old chair up here. And it has Dad's bed sore pillow on it. So
Oh,
it's like,
jeez.
I figured waste not, want not.
I mean, I think the level of professionalism. I'll also take a photo of mine.
It's gone up by at least
I
70%.
think. Well, I think you'll all. I'll send this to you actually first, because I think you'll all be impressed by how tidy we keep our
Our offices.
our offices and our equipment. Because yeah,
All right,
it's.
what do? I got to go to Pages. I put a little video up there today. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh no, I didn't. It was Friday the 13th, or well, I guess it is Friday the 13th there today.
That's right.
Yeah, Friday the
See,
13th,
I'm
and
gonna,
also a full moon. So, oof,
ooh.
oh, so much
Okay.
dust. Did you get my
This is an
picture?
exciting. I'm just saying, profesh or what? There we go.
I like
So,
how they get insight into our posts in real time.
This post is twice as boring now. You know what was funny? So we are Patreons of the One Foot in the Grave. No, shit, that's our podcast. We're Patreons of the Florida Men podcast.
Yeah. Did they give us a
And,
shout out at the end of everyone?
They do. Yeah, every time they give a shout out, we're included in that.
Nice.
And for the low price of $2 a month. So we'll do that for any of you out there who want to shout out.
Well, any
put
of
it in the
you
podcast.
who sign up to be a fucking Patreon.
Now I've not calculated how many listeners we get per episode, but I would guess it's far less than 50.
No, I think it's like around that.
That's not terrible. So they started doing it when they had 200, and now they're up to
right.
like 1,500.
Yeah,
That's not bad. If we got 50, share it with your friends.
yeah. I mean,
do us solid.
we could have a similar effect by just having a FaceTime phone call in the middle of a park in the city.
It's true.
I feel like
That's
maybe
true. You could get
we
it.
could draw more audience members. They'll get the thrill of voyeurism, and maybe we can talk about ghosts.
That's true. I'm dying to go on a ghost tour. Now you're going to be here for Halloween,
Yes.
right?
Ah,
Fucking-
am I? Yeah.
I hope
no,
so.
no. I get back here in Australia on the 31st.
On Halloween.
Yeah.
Unlucky.
Yeah.
Wait, does that mean you get 2 Halloweens, though? You leave here on
Yes.
Halloween?
Well, they
You
don't
have
celebrate
48 hours of Halloween?
They don't celebrate Halloween here in the land down under.
They do on the Wiggles Halloween special.
Yeah, Mumbles the monster.
You guys need to check out. Actually, the music's quite good. Dun, 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 dun. The skeleton scat.
Oh my gosh.
2 pumpkins sitting in a pumpkin patch. Along came a farmer with a candle and a match.
Johnny
I know.
had Caro, and Billy had gasoline. When they
Yeah.
lit him up, it really made quite a scene. Do-do-do-do, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Kill your friends.
Like
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
The subliminal messaging in the Wiggles. Slenderman. Slenderman needs you to work for him.
Kill your friends.
Along came a farmer with a pumpkin and a match. So I don't know if you've seen the Halloween Wiggles special. I assume you have because whoa, what was that?
I just had a little cough.
Oh, you know what? I hear it on my headphones, but then it doesn't translate to the podcast, so that's good.
Yeah.
Because of our leg problem. Anyway, so if you have small children, you'll know what we're talking about. The Wiggles special for Halloween. It goes through all the normal Halloween songs, and then at the end, they all dress in funeral clothes, and they sing a song called "Who Killed Cock Robin," and it is super dark.
Yeah, so lovely. Do you remember that?
Who killed Cock Robin? I said the fly with my little eye. I mean, it's so fucking weird.
Do you remember? I don't remember who it is. It's like Penn Teller or something like that. But it was, don't ever laugh as the hearse goes by.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That we had the cassette tapes that.
Yeah. What was that? Chapman. Something Chapman.
Was it anyway? It was all about the worms eating you when you're dead.
Yeah.
And our grandparents had just died. And
yeah.
I was quite fucked up about it.
Yeah. They eat your eyes, they eat your nose, they eat the jelly between your toes. You put that on a slice of bread, and that's what you eat when you are dead.
Yeah. Well, good night, kids.
Anyway,
sweet dreams.
That's the end of our lullaby session.
That's more messed up than if you played Sweet Dreams by Marilyn Manson when kids are going to bed. Sweet dreams are made of these.
What was that big hit that he had? Beautiful People.
It
was quite catchy, really.
That was what I was humming when I sent you the video of the flexion and extension C-spine images.
And
I was just scrolling between them to make it look like somebody was headbanging.
I thought that was a GIF that you had made.
No, I made that while at work. Looking at that, there was no don't get your panties in a knot. There was no patient information on. Yeah, that was the song I was thinking of when I made that.
That was
really
just
my
funny.
mouth going.
That's really funny.
Yeah,
nice.
That was my head banging. Sometimes at work, I get a little bit bored. I won't lie to you. And I see weird things on the x-rays.
Well, what are you talking about today?
I've got a very weird story. I thought I'd delve into a medical mystery this time. And I don't want to give it away by telling you actually what this story is known as, but
I bet it's neck pain.
No, even weirder.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I was going to talk about the Mandela effect.
Yeah, I saw your Facebook post.
Yeah, but
it's
only
like the Bernstein Bears versus the Berenstain Bears.
Berenstain Bears.
What? Did it change again?
Yeah. Well, it used to be Berenstain Bears, and then
in my world, it was now. It probably wasn't, but Mom called it the Bernstein Bears. Yeah. But she also says the sugar diabetes and
yes.
cholesterol. Like chlorophyll mixed with cholesterol. Cholesterol. So she could have said the Bernstein Bears, but meant the Berenstain Bears.
I know. And, I mean, it is the Berenstain Bears. You can't find anything that says the Bernstein Bears, but it is the Berenstain Bears. The other one...
It's not like Clifford the Big Cat that everybody agrees on.
Yeah, no. And the giant balloon animals...
Yeah. What was that? No.
The big fish. I can't remember.
I can't remember. One fish, two fish, red fish, green
orange fish.
Yeah, classics. Just the classics.
No,
it's a good thing nothing else changed.
Because I think it came up because a lot of people think that Nelson Mandela died while he was in prison, and they have vivid memories of televised funerals and stuff like that. But then I guess the question would be, why would they televise the funeral of a prisoner? Because wasn't he only famous after he got out of prison?
Well, I think he was famous because he led the resistance. But, there's a lot of weird stuff that happened at that time. I don't ever remember him dying in prison. I remember Nelson Mandela getting out of prison and then becoming the president of South Africa.
Well, I think I did a project on him when I was in junior high, and I thought he murdered somebody, and that's what got him into prison.
That was my impression too, but that might be something you're not supposed to say because he's like a hero. So I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know.
And then I was like, and then the thing that cut me, the thing that resides with me is, how did he get out of prison if he murdered somebody? Not How did he get out of prison?
The takeaway lesson. And the teacher's just sitting there with her mouth open like, my
Oh
fuck.
no, oh no.
Oh,
But anyway,
no.
so that's how it's been called the Mandela effect.
The Manila effect. It's called the vanilla effect. Everybody else remembered him as a white guy who murdered somebody and went to jail. That's why they call it the vanilla effect. And he came out and he was black and he became the president of South Africa.
Well, that's kind of like the story of Michael Jackson.
Didn't now, am I wrong? Did Nelson Mandela write a song called Ice Ice Baby?
Oh no, Mandela Ice.
That's right. That's how I remember
So
it
that's
all going down.
that's where it all came from. But no, only our cousin Rebecca replied. So I mean, it did sort of solidify my thoughts about that question. But the other one was what is the show about Carrie Bradshaw in New York?
You know, that's interesting because I had a girlfriend, Jen, if you remember. We're still friends, like 20 years later, but she loved that show. Sex.
She was such a Samantha.
Now, I thought it was called Sex and the City.
And it is.
No.
But it is.
No, it's called Sex in the City.
No, it's called Sex and the City.
Oh, is it really?
Yes.
Because I was like, it makes sense that it would be Sex and the City because the story's about the city.
Yeah. No, it's Sex and the City.
There was another one that was like an is versus was. Oh, life is like a box of chocolates.
Yeah,
but it's not. It's life was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand that either, because it doesn't make.
Life was like a box of chocolates.
You never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, he changes tenses if that's what he says.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it does kind of go with his.
I'll tell you what, though.
Character.
That philosophy is fucking ridiculous because chocolates are all good and life is not like a box of chocolates. Life is like a box of chocolates if one in every 3 chocolates has a dog turd under the chocolate. I guess it doesn't make for as elegant a quote for the movie.
Mom
Life
always
was
said,
like a box of dog turd laced chocolates. You never know when you're going to get diphtheria.
You never know if you're going to get hookworm. Oh no.
From that day on, anytime I went to the bathroom, I was running.
I was running.
That's really good.
Yeah, I think that's very accurate because like you get those orange cream ones and you're like, oh, this is not my favorite. But when in life
I'm going to swallow these calories anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, true. If it was a dog turd, yeah, it wouldn't have the same effect. What was the other one that I put in that post?
There was another was kind of thing, wasn't there?
Yeah, I mean, Luke,
I mean,
I am your father doesn't exist.
It doesn't?
No.
What?
No. Yeah, no, it doesn't. That doesn't exist. And what does Randy Jackson like? What's the big quote that Randy Jackson says on American Idol?
I never watched that show.
It's a no from me, dog. You know that one?
Yeah, or it's a... Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah,
but that's not what he says?
He doesn't say that. He's never said that.
Name a mascot that wears a monocle.
Oh, yeah. So,
because I assume you're thinking Mr. Peanut had a monocle.
Well, Mr. Peanut does have a monocle, but the Monopoly Man does not. And I think...
No, he's got little glasses, right?
No, nothing on his face at all. Just 2 beady little eyes.
Mustache.
Yeah, but the thing is that I think that people, because they're kind of dressed similar, him and Mr. Peanut, I think they combine the two in their memory. So
they both have top hats.
Yeah.
Now, did Abraham Lincoln have a monocle?
He owned one, but very rarely did he wear it in public.
During the Gettysburg Address.
Yeah. He was like,
four score.
And,
just let me check my monocle here.
No.
7 years ago. Our forefathers. Now, I don't know why I give him a JFK accent.
Well, I feel that he probably did talk like that. Well, actually, wouldn't they have British accents back
kind
then?
Of half English accents. They were kind of working their way out of an English accent.
7 years ago.
Now, that's what I think of when I think of George Washington, and that's because I used to play a LucasArts game when I was in high school called Day of the Tentacle.
Oh,
that was. They go back in time to the forefathers,
and really that's how he spoke. Yeah.
Now, where are my wooden teeth?
Did he
have to go on the mission to find wooden teeth?
Oh no. Yeah, I remember the tentacle game. I mean, we played it on a was it Commodore 64? Game. Yeah,
or whatever the next computer was we had, but it was a good. Yeah. Are those your kids yelling or mine? Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I mean, who cares?
They can sort themselves.
If we both just continue to listen to this 25 times each, we'll have the same number of listeners regardless.
That's true.
So the other thing that I was going to talk about, which really kind of freaks me out. So I've been watching Nuke's Top 5. I don't know if you've gotten into this on YouTube, but it's a guy.
Nukes.
Yeah, N-U-K-E''S, Top 5. Okay. And it's like all these Top 5 paranormal events. But one of them is shadow people. And it freaks me out because the videos that they show look pretty legit, and I don't know how they would fake it. I mean, let's face it, they can make orcs happen.
That's true.
20 years ago, so making like a shadow move in a movie on your iPhone is probably not the biggest deal.
Well,
but
when I watched the movie like Cloverfield, I think that's why I liked it so much, because it's very convincing that it's real, because the quality of the video is so shitty, because it's like video that's shot on a phone.
Yeah.
But then they put the monster in it and you're like, well, dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, I know.
It's so unexpected. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously easy to, it's the same as doing effect in any video.
I know. So a lot of these are like really dark humanoid looking figures that kind of pop their heads up, but in like it's usually in the background of a photo or a video that someone is shooting, and you'll just see this little head pop up and check things out and then pop back down, but it's not like intentionally focused on that. And the other thing is that a lot of the content providers are not people who would do paranormal stuff, so it's not like people trying to get views because of this. It's like, oh hey, I found this really creepy thing in this video that my kids shot, check it out, and that's the backstory to it. So it's kind of like a believable backstory for me. So I would say check out shadow people, because they're creepy as shit. Yeah. And yeah, what the fuck is happening in my kitchen? I have no idea. It sounds like rats are tap dancing through all of Aaron's Tupperware.
I'll say though, unlike other podcasts, that you are a spectator. We invite you into our home. You're one of us.
Yes. Well,
we're here with our families. We don't edit this.
We don't edit. I mean, this is the only time Jake and I catch up. So
it's true.
It's as though you had two like kind of weird brothers, which is accurate, and then you're driving along and all of a sudden your Bluetooth picks up their Bluetooth signal and it fills your car with someone else's completely
daily
random
drama
conversation.
That's right.
So
how long's it been since our last episode now? It's been like 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
We have the best intentions. I think if we aim to do one every 2 weeks, we might actually be able to pull it off. That's my guess.
Maybe.
Hard to know.
I was sick last week, and then I just didn't.
On call. I was on call the week before that.
I forgot.
It almost has to be a weekend, or like someday when you're off.
Well, I could do every second weekend, because I do every second weekend now. But then my future roster is that I'm doing 2 weekends on, 2 weekends off. It's a thing, but. Yeah.
Cool. Chrissy just closed the office door, so she was like, "Oh, it's too loud in here." It's like, "No, get my acoustic foam."
Yeah, we couldn't hear anything.
That's true.
It's so.
Listen, speaking of catching up, I got a really funny story to tell you. Now, this guy may end up listening to the podcast, so I'm going to preface this saying, "Don't be offended. I didn't get a good look." But
I saw the smallest penis today.
No. This guy, a friend of mine at work, he's this
all pubes, no penis.
Big bush with just a little hole in the middle of it. I thought, they must be having like some kind of thing, and she thinks that I'm a trans woman because I look like a lesbian. You know how I've got that, like, if lesbians were taking hormones and they get the funny beard that they try to grow in.
Jake.
I'm trying not to be offensive here, but you know how they look, right? Like the women who take hormones to get the beard. I thought she thought I was a friend of hers from something they were having, and I kept saying, I don't think I am who you think I am. I don't think I am who you think I am. She was so strong, and she was dragging me, like, mid-conversation. This, what I thought was a trans person, just grabbed me, started dragging me down to the other side of the bar, to the other room.
Strong is the new thin, they say.
James was just like, what's going on? I said, I don't know what's happening. I couldn't see her, right?
Yeah.
All I saw was a flash of the makeup. Anyway, she pulls me down. It's this guy's wife, but she was roaring drunk, like really, really drunk. It was really funny. And, they were having a great time. Yeah. And then as soon as I pieced it together, as soon as I got back and saw her, I was like, oh, it's a beautiful woman. She's just really strong and really tall. But at the time, I didn't catch the glimpse, So I was like, oh my God, I'm being dragged away.
Okay, so 1948 anyway. To 2200.
Anyway,
that can all go.
Listen, Z, I don't think your wife looks like a trans guy. It happened so fast, and she was so tall.
Oh, no.
It was quite a moment.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. It was just, I didn't see her. She snuck up behind me. It was crazy.
And she put her dick in my ass.
That's not true. She did, you know what though? She did kiss me on the mouth while I was talking to there's another new guy, and she just walked up and kissed me, and I was like, sorry, Zlatko? And he was like, we're having fun, man.
We're having fun.
Okay.
Here, wait, let me put keys into this bowl and see what happens. Oh, I got your keys.
You
How
saw
weird.
That too.
Come on, Chrissy.
Let's go, honey. No, this guy, I got to say, the guy is super cool, and he reads all this
super
Russian
cool.
literature and
Totally
stuff.
Let me fuck his wife.
He's totally good about it. No, they were saying, oh, we haven't gotten out of the house in 3 years. They've been here 3 years. They haven't gotten out once because she's been pregnant and she has 2 kids, so they haven't been out. So this was her first night out. She, I imagine, had quite a fucking epic hangover afterwards, but it was quite funny at the time.
Oh, and a roaring case of lip herpes, care of the other gentleman that she bashed.
Yeah, sorry about that. The doctors ain't identified this lip fungus I've been working on. Anyway, God bless them. They were good sports, but I felt terrible afterwards because she is, actually very beautiful, like model, like supermodel looking beautiful.
Yeah.
But there's something, and that raised something in my mind that if you were dating a supermodel and she was taller than you, there'd be weird moments because of that. Because they also wear heels.
It's not something that we ever have to worry about. I don't think.
No.
My wife is a supermodel.
Your wife looks exactly like you, only thinner.
And thinner, bigger dick. It's like thick.
Yeah. How do you tell her and her sister apart? Well, her sister always paints her nails purple, and Aaron has a cock.
Aaron's. I just have to look behind them.
Yeah.
To see which one's tucking.
Which one's got a fruit basket hanging in his back.
Or a really bad case of hemorrhoids.
Yeah. Anyway, that was just my weird story. I had a few things happen. I was like, I should write this down because Dan would find this really funny. We had a hurricane. That was cool.
Yeah.
We didn't really have any issues here, but everybody's trampoline out by where Mom lives blew off their lawn and landed in the river. So there was just at one point, you look out the back and there are all these big waves coming in and trampolines just floating by upside down in the river.
Here's a story of a hurricane. The one that took all of our trampolines. We will rebuild.
Yeah, it was like there was a real social message and all. We will rebuild.
Do you remember when we got our
overcome?
When we got our trampoline and we went to this place and it was a a tennis court that was just filled with trampolines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird, right?
That was
I forgot about that.
That was the 90s, man. They were like,
You picked the trampoline that looked the most like a circus trampoline because it had like yellow, red, green.
Well, it was the only one with actual pads on the edge. The other ones were just like...
You had to pay for it yourself, didn't you? I think you had to save up for the trampoline.
Oh, I mean, like, maybe, but I definitely did not. Like, maybe that was the premise of some lesson that Mom and Dad were trying to teach me. But true to life, they just paid for it.
How many injuries did we have on that trampoline? I'll tell you one thing. I lost my virginity on that trampoline.
No! Oh, yep. God! It was so leafy and sandy. That would
also...
not...
I mean, I didn't know about pushing surfaces and like the reason why you need a firm mattress. It was like, let's do it on a trampoline. I'm sure it was magical for her too.
Oh no! Oh, God help us! That was my childhood trampoline.
It was where I turned into a man.
Oh, well,
using a bright green condom from the high school vending machine.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
I didn't know people actually used those.
I remember it like it was yesterday because I got her pregnant and we had to get an abortion. No, that didn't happen. That's not true.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised with bright green because they probably didn't start out bright green.
Yeah, it's just the color they turned after 1956 when they were stocked.
Yeah, it's just like the mold from the lamb skin.
I was so excited when we went to high school. And I went in that bathroom for the first time and I was like, condom machine? Oh my God. This is going to be so fucking awesome. It was almost like they were giving the message. You know what? You should study in high school, but get laid.
but have the sex. And then in the women's toilet, it was like tampon machine. And then if you're using this, good on you.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
Lucky you. Yeah.
Do you remember the guy that they called the impregnator?
Yes, I won't say his full name.
But Joe.
It's a style of haircut and a style of fish.
Yeah, it was gross.
Yeah, he got 2 girls pregnant at the same time. I think like 3 months apart.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was going to say like that's like some Pornhub shit.
We call it the double cream pie maneuver.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Joe had he got one girlfriend pregnant, and they broke up. He dumped her. He was like, I ain't have no baby, and then he got another girl pregnant like right away.
But he was full on geek too. That was the most surprising thing about old Joe. Speaking of Joe, I'm watching this new Netflix show called You. Ooh,
oh yeah,
it's good.
YOU.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's got Dan. Is it as good as The Boys?
It's very different. It's got Penn Badgley in it, who is Dan Humphrey in Gossip Girl, but it's kind of like the modern Dexter, I would say.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That'd be good. Yeah, so it's like there's a bit of mystery, bit of murder, true crime.
It's a delight.
Well, false crime. Okay, I might watch that one.
Yeah,
I've been
really
looking
good
for something.
Yeah.
I was going to start writing down pop stories, but turn them into a book called Amazing Pugwash Stories. Oh, that'd be...
Well, they don't all
cool.
happen in Pugwash, though.
No.
Like, he didn't lose the tip of his finger in Pugwash.
No, I know. But I figured if I called it Amazing Pugwash Stories, they'd sell it in the gift store there. And I'd actually sell some copies.
Oh, my gosh. Then I'll at least make the money back for the ream of paper that I bought.
For the paper? I'll tell you, that did go through my mind. It's not easy. It's not easy being artistic and being in Eastern Canada because nobody gives a fuck. It doesn't even matter if you're super talented. Nobody gives a shit. You're never getting anywhere.
We've got like a blog post thing on our website again. So you can start writing things and I can put them on the blog.
Oh, cool. And nobody will read that either. But, I will send some. I'll send some of the pop stories your way.
I think the One Foot in the Grave .weebly.com podcast.weebly.com because people think that it's going to be about the UK television show. I think it does get a little bit more traffic than the actual podcast.
Oh, that's interesting. We could put some really funny content on there, and then you'd be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
You could put the Dick story on there.
But
I think you already have a copy of that.
what's the? Oh yeah.
The time.
Yeah.
The time I ate the red food dye that I was allergic
Yeah.
to, and my dick swelled up, and then they made Aunt Gwen
Yeah.
look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awful. Some things have happened in our lives that have sort of shaped
Yeah. What?
the people we've
Do you
become.
think that these types of things happen to other people? Like, I mean, they must do, but
I mean, they must. But I worked in the Emerge. I never saw anybody else come in with a big swollen dick.
yeah. Well,
I've done all kinds of medical stuff. I've never seen that again.
at the age of 8 or whatever it was that you were, like, it was
about 10.
Yeah, it was an age where
When you don't want
When you
a
don't-
dick shaped and looking like a pumpkin in your
Yeah.
pants.
Oh.
It was the weird... Whoa.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
well.
snake. Yeah, it's fine.
Snake. It's not a snake. This is a snake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Oh,
tell me your thing.
Yeah. All right. So, like I said, Medical Mystery Week this week. I loved the dimensional ones, the trans-dimensional ones. I want to find some space stories.
You're
I
all
wanna
about
find
the
some alien
trans this
encounters.
episode, aren't you?
Yeah, this is the trans episode. If you call it the Caitlyn Jenner episode, I bet a bunch of people listen to this shit for like 8
No,
seconds. And
I
be
tried.
Like, oh, what the fuck?
I tried to like call it Kim Kardashian and shit way back when.
Beyonce.
Yeah, I think Apple actually fact checks.
No, dang. There's also I was talking about pop stories, but just to explain, our dad died. If you're a new listener, and he died of cancer, so he had time to tell us all his fucked up childhood stories. So and adulthood stories. So that's what we're talking about. When we
My
say pop
favorite
stories.
was the 3 squares.
You have to send me that because I can't quite remember. I know it was 3 squares of toilet paper a day.
Yeah. But you were like 3. No, I think, Dad, what they were talking about is square
3
meals.
square meals.
It was like, no.
Yeah.
no.
Oh, you know what? That was on our old podcast.
Yeah. So it's all, I mean, I've got them all saved.
Now, none of my friends know that this podcast exists. They all think that we stopped making podcasts at the end of the last podcast, except for like John, Justin, and a couple people at work, maybe.
Justin
But,
Trudeau?
no, he's not my friend. I hope that son of a bitch goes to jail. Anyway, moving on. He broke the law. Go to jail, Justin. That should be a
what
true
did he
crime
do?
podcast.
What did he do?
I think he took bribes for SNC Lavalin to give them. He wrote law into the Constitution to give them a delayed prosecution agreement.
Is this
because
like
they had
allegedly?
bribed-
Allegedly?
No. This was proven, but then the RCMP was supposed to investigate, and Trudeau wouldn't waive cabinet confidentiality to let them interview people about it. So, I mean, he's clearly guilty, but they haven't, they haven't taken him to jail because they just can't. They can't just take him without, interviewing the witnesses. So that's what's going on. That's what's going on in Canada.
But
Thanks-
he helps
thanks, old
people in
Justin.
wheelchairs.
He gives you coats when you arrive. Fuck you, photo op, buddy. He's so phony. Anyway, sorry, I've just pissed off everyone in our audience, so we'll keep it less political. Let me tell you about Gloria Ramirez.
Oh.
The death of Gloria Ramirez.
She received a coat from Justin Trudeau, but it was laced with smallpox. Allegedly.
That's the kind of shit he would do. He fired, so his attorney general. Listen, his
Rant.
attorney general. You know how he was all about like, what do you call it? Diversity is our strength. Blah
Yeah.
blah blah. So the attorney general is the first cabinet minister who's been Native Canadian, right?
Yeah.
And Jody Wilson-Raybould, and she is a brilliant person. I'm not a liberal, but she is. I had a lot of respect for her. Really brilliant lawyer, and she refused to obstruct justice for him on this SNC Lavalin thing, and he smeared her name for 6 months, kicked her out of caucus, and is still like smearing her, saying that she was impossible to work with, all this stuff. Another lady, a doctor named Jane Philpott, who I wasn't crazy about, but she was okay too. Kicked her out of caucus too for standing up for the attorney general. So now he doesn't have 50% women in cabinet. He's such a dick.
You
back when
love
he had
Justin
all the-
Trudeau. When's the next?
I've never seen somebody more phony, and it makes me insane that people still like him. I think
When-
he's such an asshat.
I know, but he carried that person's wheelchair. When is the next election?
It's coming right up. It's already been called, so it's October 21st.
Ooh.
So if you're Canadian, get out and vote for literally anybody but him.
I'll be home for that.
Are you still Canadian?
Yeah.
Yes. Now we have 2 votes.
Oh no, I'm voting for Trudeau.
Since Dad died, Dad hated him.
I know, but didn't
Dad was
all
right.
of Dad's, like, the people that Dad liked locally were on that, like, that, I don't know, the political party?
Oh yeah, I mean the Liberals. They have a lot of my friends are Liberals. It's like 2 different things, right? I don't. First of all, the Liberals were Jean Chrétien's party. They were like a Canadian staple, but now it's a cult. They're just a personality cult for this guy. Anyway, hopefully they'll get back. He'll get out, and then they'll come back to reason.
But the
I don't
weed.
dislike my friends for being. Yeah, I'm glad there's weed. I'm glad they have free weed, or not free. But,
Free weed. That's the new.
Everybody's going to come to
The
Canada.
new slogan.
It's actually, it's super expensive when you buy it from the government, and they've lost money on it in Ontario and New Brunswick, where the
Whoa.
government sells
Well,
it.
I know, but like, have you been into one of the dispensaries?
Yeah, because the high school weed dealer doesn't have to give people pensions and benefits and
Well, yeah, and
keep
like
the
you
lights
go in
on,
there
and
and
the building's huge.
it's one person per customer, so one salesperson per customer. So because
They've got as many employees as the liquor store, and the liquor store is full of customers, and the
Yeah.
weed store has one person in it at a time.
yeah.
It's
So
ridiculous.
you have to wait in a holding room until the last customer's left, and then you can go in because they want one person to one person. So I mean, the customer service is fantastic, but it's
ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like operational.
Well, let me tell you about this little toxic event that happened.
Yeah.
This is a crazy. So we're going in the time machine to 1994.
Diddly-doo, diddly-doo, diddly-doo.
So February 19th, 1994 at 8:15 p.m., Gloria Ramirez, a terminal cancer patient with cervical cancer, arrived at the Riverside, California Emergency Department. She was confused, tachycardic, and had Cheyne-Stokes breathing, which is like the, kind of like your death breathing, right?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Darth Vader stuff.
Yeah. Luke,
This
I am your father. Never happened. Never happened in the movie. Yeah.
he does say, "I am your father."
No,
right?
no.
I think that came from Tommy Boy when he's
Oh
talking
no,
to
he
the
says,
fan.
"No, I am your father." You're right.
Yeah. Is that Aaron yelling at the kids?
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. The staff in the hospital gave Gloria diazepam, midazolam, and lorazepam for sedation.
Whoa.
It just kept trying all the different
Yeah.
PAMs.
The PAMs.
The-
Yeah.
What are those? Barbiturates? No.
No,
What's the other word?
benzodiazepine.
Benzodiazepines. She went into arrest requiring defibrillation.
Yeah. No shit.
So when
and
she arrested,
flumazenil, I would imagine.
yeah, when she arrested, they tear off your shirt or whatever, and
Mm.
they have to put the pads on. The staff noticed at that time that her skin had a thick, oily sheen, and there was a fruity, garlicky aroma
Ah.
people thought was
You've
on her
talked
breath.
about this one.
No, not on this podcast, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
You know what you're thinking of? The time that Dad got diabetic ketoacidosis,
No.
and he had that weird, fruity breath smell. The ketones. Anyway, Susan Kane, a nurse, a registered nurse, drew blood and noted an ammonia smell coming from the blood tube. Now, or garlicky smell. And I think those aren't similar smells. You can definitely tell fruit from garlic.
Well, I mean, but the durian fruit, though,
Maybe.
people are like, "Oh, it smells like delicious bananas," and other people are like, "It smells like sewage." So,
It's maybe it's a California thing.
yeah, our garlic smells like apples.
She's smelling the blood tube. It smells like ammonia. Why are you smelling it? You're not supposed to smell it. Maybe it always smells like ammonia. Anyway, Susan King gave the blood to medical resident Julie Gorchinsky, who noted manila-colored particles suspended in the blood.
Oh.
Manila.
Mm.
Now, Manila was in prison,
Yeah,
and he died in prison.
he-
Manila.
he died after he murdered
Nelson Manila Ice.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He murdered that guy and then wrote a big song and got people really excited, and he got murdered. Yeah.
That's right. With the jacket that said "Word to Your Mother," right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Julie Grudzinski noted these particles suspended in the blood, and at that point, Kane fainted and was removed from the room. Shortly thereafter, Grudzinski became nauseated and lightheaded, and she had to leave the trauma room. She sat at a nursing desk where someone asked if she was all right, but then she also fainted. Maureen Welsh, a respiratory therapist who was assisting in the trauma room, then fainted. The staff then ordered the evacuation of the emergency room and took all patients to the parking lot outside. Overall, 23 people became ill and 5 were hospitalized. A skeleton crew stayed behind to stabilize Ramirez. At 8:50, after 45 minutes of CPR, she was pronounced dead from kidney failure related to her cervical cancer. So what I think, that just means the cervical cancer obstructed the ureters or the bladder, and the kidneys got backed up, and then she went into renal failure. So that's the event. The investigation. Part 2, the investigation. The California Department of Health and Human Resources put doctors Ana Maria Osorio and Kristen Walker on the case. They interviewed 34 hospital staff who had been working in the emergency department on February 19th. They noted people with severe symptoms such as fainting, muscle spasms, and breathing problems had things in common. They had either worked with the blood or the blood tubing. However, since it was mostly women affected, and none of the men were affected,
hysteria.
Here we go. They figured it didn't correlate with the toxic fume exposure. Also, they had normal blood tests, and so they diagnosed 34 hospital workers with mass hysteria.
Oh, like for real?
Yeah, for real, that's what they said.
I thought I was just making a woman joke.
Yeah, but that's what they did. Now, these were the two doctors were both women, which
this was in 94, did you say?
Yeah. These women all need hysterectomies. Yes. They're hysterical. And if they're still upset, lobotomies. Then we'll put them in a room with yellow wallpaper. Anyway, I'm well read, but tactless. So Grudzinski, the medical resident, said that was totally ridiculous, noting that she'd spent 2 weeks in the ICU after her exposure with respiratory symptoms. She developed hepatitis and avascular necrosis in both her knees.
What? Avascular necrosis of her knees? Like the skin knees. On her knees?
No, the bones in her knees.
The knee bone.
She had femoral and tibial infarcts.
Oh, I'm going to kick you right in the knee bone.
Oh, my fucking knee bone. I woke up in the ICU, my fucking knee bone was just throbbing like a bastard.
My knee bone. I love it.
Oh, fuck. I'm a doctor, I swear.
My knee bone hurts.
Anyway, so...
vascular necrosis of my knee bone. Oh, right, okay. Fuck. So she got arthritis.
No. So she had infarcts, like bone infarcts in her knees, okay? In her femurs. Riverside Coroner's Office.
Knee bones. Sorry. I don't know why it's so funny to me.
Because it's not a real thing. I get it. I fucking said knee bones.
Yeah.
So they brought the coroner's office back in, and they consulted the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory to investigate the incident.
What is with you and saying weird words? Words weird.
Which one did I say?
Laboratory.
I've been watching Sherlock.
But then what was the other one you said just before? Well, I'll hear it and I'll be like...
The coroner?
No. It's
like... coroner. It's a coroner's office. You put the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
No, okay, so the laboratory.
The laboratory, yeah. Laboratory. Fuck, I don't know which one I say. I think I say laboratory. Anyway.
What do you call something small? Like something small, like a model car, but you would call it, like what a mini is short for what? Word?
Miniature.
Okay, so I say
not miniature.
I say miniature. I say miniature, and people make fun of me all the time.
Do you pronounce the H when you say whip?
Well, let me think.
Whip.
Let me think. Let me whip. Watch me, nay, nay. Watch me whip.
Whip it real good. Whip it into shape. How's the weight going, by the way? Just to interrupt.
Well, I can still wipe my ass. So there's no H in wipe. But I am still able to. I'm still able to wipe my ass. So we're winning.
Oh fuck. Yeah. Anyway.
Yep. Laboratory.
So they brought in this lab to investigate the incident. Livermore Labs postulated. Okay, here's where it gets quite cool. Now, there was no answer to this. Now, there was no answer to this when I first heard this story. So this has developed since the story first broke. There's a substance called DMSO. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, we use it all the time, or we used to.
What do you use it for?
We give it IV in patients with neurological symptoms, but this is 15 years ago. So we used to give it IV, and it does smell like garlic. We'd give it IV to patients that had vestibular disease because we thought it was due to oxidizing agents, and it was a powerful antioxidant.
Right, and it, like, if you rub DMSO on your hand and then you pick up a lemon, you can actually taste lemon, right? They use it as an industrial degreaser for one thing, but a lot of people, like 40 years ago, used to think it had pain relieving properties. Yeah, and this lady had cervical cancer.
Oh, and she was putting it on her cervix.
So they think she was using a pile of DMSO as a skin ointment, as a home remedy for the pain that she was in from her cancer.
It used to come in like a roller ball as well, and you would rub it on your sore joints and stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
So now she also had the urinary blockage, and she was like, her skin was thick and oily with this stuff. They figured the DMSO in her system had built up due to a urinary blockage from the cancer. When the RTs were giving her oxygen, that would have combined with the DMSO on her skin to form crystallized DMSO2, explaining the appearance of those little flakes in the blood. And then when you electrocute DMSO2 with defibrillation, it converts DMSO2 to DMSO4, a highly toxic ester of sulfuric acid, exposure to which can cause necrotizing bone disease, obviously respiratory problems, fainting, neurological
that was
problems.
The word that you said.
Oh, what do you say? Respiratory?
Yeah.
Yeah, respiratory.
Yeah. What do you call the first part of the small intestine?
The duodenum.
Yeah.
Do you call it the duodenum?
No, but I hear a lot of people...
My duodenum's acting up, Lois.
I hear a lot of people call it the duodenum.
That's a second Family Guy reference in like 5 seconds. I haven't seen that show in years. Lois, my duodenum's acting up.
I reckon if this whole podcast thing doesn't work out, we could probably do some voiceover work. My goodness, Harry.
Sorry, Professor, my duodenum's acting up. Oh, God. It's going to be a photo finish, Lois.
Yeah, so I think, we've got this. It's fine.
Anyway, listen, 2 months after her death, Ramirez's highly decomposed body was exhumed, and the Riverside Coroner's Office tested cell phone levels and agreed with the conclusions of Livermore Labs.
Wait, they tested for what?
Cell phone. Not cell phone. Cell phone. S-U-L-F-O-N-E.
I was like...
Where's the cell phone?
Well, we better check his cell phone.
I can't find that cell phone anywhere. And you're standing at the gravesite and everybody just looks at each other and then looks at the ground.
Her cell phone levels are really low. Have you tried calling it? She's got cell phone mismatch.
We buried it with a cell phone. Get the shovels.
The call is coming from inside the coffin.
That iPhone 11 Pro is not cheap.
How much is it?
Figure up.
Oh.
Yeah.
How much is it?
I think it's like $1,100 US, so probably
like $2,000.
25,000 Canadian dollars if Justin Trudeau wins this next election. Anyway.
Canadian dollar, rupee, same thing.
Rupee. 25,000 Canadian dollars and 3 canuts.
Good news, everybody. You can travel to India on par.
It's on par day in Bangalore. In Mumbai.
Guess what, Dad? I spent this week's earnings on a gram of spices.
For only 1 week's earning, you can get this poo-looking meat on a stick in Mumbai. Have you seen? What are they called? Is it Daliwals? The guys who deliver lunch in India, and it's like the most complicated system. So the men go to work. This is going to sound sexist. This is just the way it is. The men go to work. The women cook their lunch for them, and for like $1 a month, these guys go and collect the lunch. They organize all the lunches. They put them on trolleys. They take them to train stations. Then they go out and deliver them to each of the guys, and they bring it's freaking amazing.
Yeah. And like that's just $1 Canadian a month.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it used to be now.
Or 2 rupees. Yeah.
But if they can organize to that level, why can't we make money selling pot for like $50 a gram?
You know why though? It's because we don't have people that will deliver. Well, we do have people that will deliver it, but
they won't do it for $1 a day. But they're so organized, and everybody uses it, so they're not really making $1 a day. It's like probably $50,000 a day per company. Anyway. So they dug up the body and tested her cell phone levels.
Yeah.
And agreed with the conclusions of Livermore Labs. The Ramirez family disputed the conclusion, presumably worried that they're going to get sued if they make people sick with the DMSO or whatever, but I don't think they would. And hired their own pathologist. And this is how the story ends. The family's pathologist was unable to determine the cause of death as the heart was missing and the other organs were contaminated with fecal material. The end.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's just that's how it ends.
But wait, say it again.
The heart was missing. The other organs were contaminated with fecal material.
Oh.
That's poo.
So
they bury you with your intestines in, right?
But they just shove everything back in anyway. Like, it's not like they put the heart back in the chest. They just sew it all back up into the abdomen, right?
Well, I think they must have kept her heart in the lab, in the path lab, and then just put the rest of the shit in there and chuck the body in the ground.
Well, I know, but it probably the heart was probably in there. It probably just turned into soup.
I think if I die in a way that requires, coroner's investigation, if you're taking the guts out anyway, get the shit out of them before you put them back in.
Yeah.
I would like to not be a disgusting, rotten corpse full of shit. Please.
You're going to be.
Odds are.
Yeah. I mean, if I have to...
Matter.
So
I'm just worried that I'll need to be exhumed, and somebody I know will be like, fuck, he stinks. It's not my fault. I'm dead.
If, according to prophecy from Ecclesiastes, and we all, come back, in the afterlife with the bodies that we're buried with, I don't want that line incision.
Man, I know. I've been reading... I'd been doing some Bible studying, and then I came to this chapter that was like, heaven's not real, and
what? In the Bible?
Yeah, and I was like, what? I don't want to read this.
Are you reading Lucifer's first edition?
Yeah. Maybe it was the Satanic Verses or the Satanic Bible.
Yes,
by Anton LaVey.
It was written on human skin. That one. That Bible.
I actually, the one with the nipple on the front cover. The human nipple.
And every Friday...
The witch's hammer.
Every Friday the 13th on a full moon, it lactates.
Sorry, Rob.
Yeah.
I actually did write to Rob about it, and he was like, I wouldn't sweat it.
Yeah, I did too. Did I tell you that I found this thing... I think it was like way back when I was after Dad died and I was having those visitation dreams, and I wrote to Rob and I found this YouTuber because I was like, oh, I'll just ask YouTube about my visitation dreams, and there was
Good
this
choice.
this South African preacher, and he was like,
Yes.
if you find that you are being visited by people in dreams, that is a demon.
You have been possessed by the demon.
I was like, oh, okay. I'll just ask Rob.
I guess I'm possessed.
Yeah, I guess this is.
This podcast is going to get a lot more interesting.
Yeah. Kill each other. What? I just blacked out. I blacked out for a second. There'll be like a spate of no deaths occurred after One Foot in the Grave podcast was taken over by demon possession and told all its listener to kill each other.
Last week we were talking about the guys who were like the guys who come up to you and say, "I'm supposed to tell you that God loves you." And
yeah.
Wouldn't it be weird if you just started going up to people and saying, "I'm supposed to tell you something. Your mother sucks cocks."
You were born out of wedlock.
It'd be so great if there was some like bodysuit that you could use for Halloween and then like turn your head around like a full 360 inside the suit. It would freak people out.
Well, it would be really good for short people because you could make that believable in a short person. But
I love the ones that are inflatable that look like an alien abducting you. And you just have the little. Have you seen them? And they're just little legs. Like they're inflatable legs in pants and like an inflatable shirt, but you're actually the alien's legs. And then there's this big alien inflated behind you, and it looks like he's grabbing you.
Oh, jeez.
It's really funny. They're a great costume.
Well, happy Halloween, everybody.
Oh, I wish you were here for Halloween. But you know what? The ghost tour season will be like full swing.
Yeah,
we should do the St. Andrews one.
I didn't know that they had a St. Andrews one.
They have one, and Chrissy knows the guy who runs it.
Oh, but didn't she know the person who ran the other one too?
In St. John?
Yeah.
No, we got our advice from that guy.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
I watch a lot of urban exploration as well now, and there's some freaky shit, man. But I think a lot of poltergeists are just homeless people.
Yeah. I agree.
I've got to go because I think my coffee may have had dairy in it.
So, my duodenum's acting up.
My duodenum. I wish it was my duodenum, then I just burp. But
hey, I'm down like 11 pounds, by the way.
Fuck right off.
No, you started, and then Mom started losing weight, and I was like, fuck, I can't be the only fat ass left in the family. I better start. But I lost 11 pounds in a week, and I haven't lost any more weight since.
Well,
insane.
Fuck you.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, you've lost more than that.
No, not anymore. It turns out that if I slowly introduce food back into my diet, I can eat it.
That's a blessing and a curse, really.
Yeah, I mean, if you just all of a sudden start binge eating wings, it doesn't sit well.
Hard on the duodenum.
The old duodenum. And, I don't know how much longer my little knee bones can take it.
My fucking knee bones are killing me. I went to a AFIP. I know you got to go. I went to AFIP, the Armed Forces Institute of Pathology, and in America they do say duodenum.
I know. Well, a lot of the continuing education that I do is American, and it says duodenum. So when you were saying respiratory, I was like, I bet this fucker idiot says duodenum as well, but no.
I think I had English professors in med school, and that's why I say some words English. Laboratory, respiratory. I mean that's the English pronunciation.
And I guess I say everything in Australian, which is just like slang speak anyway. So it'd be like, right in the shitter.
I gotta get to Australia again. Damn it, dude.
Well, you should come this summer. Because
I should. I'm scared of the flight. I fucking hate flying.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, man.
I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of claustrophobic.
What?
I'm claustrophobic.
I know, but you can afford first class or at least business class.
No, I can't. For that price, you could buy a car. It's so expensive.
It's true. My Rolex money I bought a car with.
I am aware.
But my other car wasn't really getting me to work anymore.
I can't sell anything. I'm like a hoarder.
Well, I sold the little beep beep Barina, but I sold it to Aaron's auntie, and I sold it for $1,500, and there was $1,100 worth of repairs that needed to be done to make it roadworthy. So I just gave it away. I was just like, you can just have it. Yeah, I don't want it.
I can't part with anything, and I got a really good offer for my truck. They would give me a new truck and decrease my payments on it by a huge amount. And I went and looked at it, and I was like, I like my old truck. It has
all my stuff in it.
It has. I honestly did think that. I was like, it's going to be a lot of work. I don't think I'm going to.
You know what? I think there's stuff in there that I'll never be able to find. Yeah. So let's burn it.
I'm good.
Isn't it leased though?
No, it's financed. So I've got 1 year left of payments, and I would have to go back to 3 years of payments. But still, right. I was like, I have a brand new car. When Dad was in Moncton getting treatments, I was driving there it's an hour and a half each way.
Yeah.
I was doing it how many times a week? Like 4 nights a week.
Yeah.
Every time I wasn't on call, I was going to Moncton and back. So I put on a lot of miles. Anyway, I like my old car. It's good.
Yeah, I like my new car.
You got a GTI or something, didn't you?
Well, I just got like a Volkswagen Golf.
I'll tell you what, you got the diesel one, didn't you?
Yeah.
Did it seem like a really good deal?
Well, it's like a 2013, so it was like a fairly average deal. Yeah.
You know that they were all recalled, right?
Well, that's fine with me
Except nobody will buy them because they're harder on gas than they claim.
I get 1,000 kilometers per tank of petrol. It's $80 for me to fill it up.
See, I get 1,000 kilometers, but it's $140 to fill mine. So I don't think it's as good a deal.
Well, but it's $1.45 per liter here, for petrol. So
that's about the same as here. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really fuel efficient, and I know that they fudged the numbers on their efficiency, but it's still, regardless, really efficient.
Still quite good.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Just drive it into the ground would be my recommendation.
Well, that's what I thought I would do with the Barina, but then the ground started to come up through the floor, and
I was driving to work one day in the winter in Newfoundland. I had the old Jeep, the old red one.
Yeah.
And I drove through a big slushy puddle, and it went up my pant leg.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that? There's a big hole in the floor.
That's what was happening with the Barina. But there was no visible hole. It was just coming in by magic. I don't know. By possession.
It was just a little snake hole.
Well, probably. And then there was
a hole under the car.
There was a big snake in the wheel well, which kind of freaked me out. So, I was happy to get rid of that one.
You needed a new car.
Yeah, it was time. All right.
Anyway, bro.
Well, visit our website at onefootinthegravepodcast.weebly.com. All the links to social media are there. You can follow the link in the description section below. Yeah. What's that sound? Oh, it's my children.
It's your kids.
Yeah.
Send us an email. Send us an email at onefootinthegravepodcast@gmail.com. Join the Patreon page. You'll be the first.
You will be the first.
$2 a month, and we will name you at the end of the episode. So we'll say thanks to our patrons.
And I'll send you like all sorts of crazy shit.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you what else too. I want to do a new run of T-shirts.
Yeah. Okay.
And I got some new software that we can try out.
Get the fuck out of town.
And stuff.
Did you get all the Pent stuff? Obviously, this is working, but
what's that?
All the payment stuff for like our.
Yeah, I think so. My card got canceled.
Oh,
so
all right.
I had to make do with the new card. But I think at Cast, I don't know if Libsyn is done yet.
Okay,
you'll have to tell me when that. Fails,
that's just on your PayPal account. So Jake is the actual the money behind this project.
I'm the executive producer.
I just push start and stop record.
No, you do all the uploading. I don't know how to do that.
Oh, well, yeah.
I was thinking, man, if something happens to Dan, this podcast is going to be really boring and never published again.
And you wouldn't even know. Well, now you do know the passwords to cancel all the accounts.
I've lost them. I've since lost them.
Oh, golly. All right. Yeah. Well, fam.
All right, dudes.
Have fun, weirdos. Talk to you later. Bye.
Yes, you weirdos.